Good day, and thank you for tuning in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast. For all of our new listeners and viewers who are tuning in for the very first time, I'm Pastor Pope, Senior Pastor of New Life Christian Center, 400 Hillcrest Avenue in Wilmington, Delaware, 19809. We are located at the corner of Hillcrest and Marsh Road in Wilmington, Delaware. There's parking on Hillcrest. We are the brown brick building located right on the corner of Hillcrest and Marsh Road. Every Sunday at 10 a.m., we invite you to come and worship with us. If you're in our area, we invite you to come and experience a better quality of life. We invite you to come and be with us every Sunday at 10 a.m. But if you're not in our area, you can tune in for the Sunday sermon at 10:45 a.m. every Sunday at New Life Christian Center, 400 Hillcrest Avenue, Wilmington, Delaware, 19809. And of course, we are Facebook Live, we are YouTube Live, and we are RadioFreeNetwork.com live. So you can click on radio, go to RadioFreeNetwork.com, click on radio. The Dropbox will appear, and every broadcast will be available to you when you click on the New Life link. But every Monday through Friday, we thank you for allowing us to come into your viewing environment right here, live in the FijiWater.com sponsored studio in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast from 12:30 p.m. until 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. So set your reminders so that you can tune in every Monday through Friday from 12:30 p.m. until 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And subscribe to our YouTube channel, like our videos, so that you can be a part of our daily broadcast right here in 3D, which is brought to you by Fiji Water, Earth's finest water. You may already know that Fiji water comes from Fiji. However, did you know that it is created by nature? It is untouched by man. It starts as a tropical rainfall which slowly filters through layers of volcanic rock. The water collects in a natural, sustainable artesian aquifer where it is bottled right at the source, free from human contact until you unscrew the cap. The blue cap, Fiji Water, Earth's finest water, will be delivered right to your front door when you subscribe for delivery. And you'll save money at FijiWater.com. This is not just water. This is Fiji Water at FijiWater.com. And for those of you who continue giving on the give segment of our app at New Life-Delaware to support the broadcast, and those of you who make a weekly or monthly commitment by giving on the contribution pages of our websites at NewLifeMinistriesInternational.com and NewLifeInternationalCDC.com, we thank you for your support and for your commitment as we fulfill our commitment to God to be here for you so that you can discuss whatever topics you might like to discuss, whatever issues of life you find challenging or that you find difficult to navigate. We are here because God is concerned about that which concerns you. Every Monday through Friday from 12:30 p.m. until 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, right here in 3D. So I'm going to address a communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers who indicated that you feel that you have wasted a good portion of your life not doing anything constructive. How can you get more out of life is what you want to know. So, I'm going to begin by saying this. First of all, first and foremost, life is going to be exactly what you make it to be. If you are going to focus on being a better version of yourself, every single day you're going to improve. One of the things that happens so often, and this is one of the things that God allowed me to see in that secret place of your life, is impeding your progress of thriving and not just existing. And that is that you are satisfied doing things the way you've always done them. And so often in our society, people are satisfied with just doing things the way they've always done them. Now, we all have that characteristic. I'll be a prime example of that by saying that, I'm learning to go through the maturation process of technology. But I'm perfectly content doing things the way we've always done them and getting good results. But if we want better results, if we want more results, we have to try some different things. So, time passes and I progress into the next phase of things, but you're going to have to do the same. You're going to have to make a decision that the way you've conducted yourself, both personally and professionally, is not the way you're going to be able to continue doing that if you want to continue to grow and prosper and to thrive. So you have to recognize that you don't want to waste any more time on anything that does not focus on the long term. Focus on your future. We live in the present, but we focus on our future. So I'm going to just walk you through a couple of things that you're going to be able to do differently that is going to help you to navigate life more effectively and efficiently and to thrive. One of the things that you're going to have to focus on is really becoming more organized. And one of the organizational skills for all of us is extremely important. But you're going to have to particularly be more organized because you have things moving in a lot of different directions, both in your personal life and in your professional life. You're going to want to settle into one pattern, one particular thought process. How do I get from point A to point Z effectively and efficiently? It can't just be, I'm trying to get from point A to point B in my life. I'm trying to get to the very next point in my life. You're going to get to the next point in your life whether you do anything different or not, because life's going to continue to push every one of us forward. What you've got to focus on is the long term. What can I do to improve my lifestyle, the quality of my life? And there is a difference between the quality of your life and your lifestyle. Your lifestyle is what you're living. Your quality of life is what you're building and developing. And so everything should be predicated on how you're going to build, develop, and sustain a great quality of life. But what am I doing each moment of the day? So yesterday, as you know, I mentioned about the details, the little things that we do. Right, wrong, or indifferent. The little things that we do that have an impact on our success or impede the progress of our success. So we really have to work on ensuring that we are, first of all, a better version of ourselves daily, become the best version of ourselves that we can possibly become. And that means examining every aspect of our lives and pushing ourselves to become better. We can't just be satisfied with where we are and who we are right now. We have to focus on what we can do to accomplish the next step and go to the next level, both personally and professionally. So you want to, and this is what I say to everyone, we live in the present. The past is our past. The present is where we live. The future is where we'll dwell. And what does that look like for us? How do we ensure that we create the best future for ourselves? How do we ensure that we maximize our success and the fullness of God in all of our lives? So we have to have a plan for that, and we have to work the plan. So you feel that you've wasted a good portion of your life. So why waste that any longer? Focus on what you can do to be a better version of yourself. Focus on what you can do to be the best version of yourself. And anything that is not going to lead to your long-term accomplishments, goals, success. It has to be eliminated. And you're right, wasting time, that has to be eliminated. Being all over the place, that we've got to eliminate that. We've got to, and I always use that expression, being all over the place, because if we don't develop a specific course, okay, if we don't choose a specific course, we're going to get off course. So you've got to choose a specific course and you got to stay on it. You got to follow it all the way to the end. That's how you accomplish things. You stay on the course until you get to the end. And God has something more for all of us, but we have to be willing to go and get it. We have to be willing to put the work in that's going to lead to the success that God has purposed for all of our lives. Because we know that God has a plan for each and every one of us, and it's of good and not of evil. So we have to get to the good. We have to work to get to the good. We have to work to get to the finish line. And each time we get to the finish line, we win the race of life. You know, it's if you've ever been a runner and you've run races, you know that when you get to the end of each race, you know that at some point there's going to be another race, but you finished the course. So we have to continuously run our race and finish our course until we complete everything that God has purposed for our lives, everything that's been assigned for our lives to accomplish. We have to work to that end. And we can't get off the course by doing other things or adding other things onto our schedule when we know that this is the course that we're on. Don't put stumbling blocks or hurdles on your course just so you have to jump over them. And a lot of people spend time doing that, placing hurdles on their course, in their race, placing hurdles that they have to go back and jump over, when if all we do is just stay on the course, we will be successful. We'll come to the end. We'll get to the finish line. We will accomplish what's been purposed for us. So I want to encourage you today to say this. You feel that you've wasted a good portion of your life. Well, what you've been doing is existing. What you've been doing is getting up every day, living your life. And now you realize that some of what you've been doing has been a waste of time. Well, today we're going to draw a line in the sand. It's going to be your starting point. This is where you're going to get out of the blocks. And you're going to begin to run a different race. You're going to run at a pace that's sustainable for you. A pace that won't cause any injuries. A pace that your wind will be good, your legs will be good, and you will finish the course and get to the place that God has appointed for your life. But you've got to have long-term goals, long-term vision, and you've got to work to that end. This segment of the broadcast has been brought to you by T-Mobile, America's largest, fastest, and most reliable 5G network. So if you are not currently a T-Mobile customer, you may call or text on the T-Mobile call or text line. If you have not been for the previous 90 days, you can call 267-992-1424. We will place you into our queue so that you may become a T-Mobile customer and experience America's largest, fastest, and most reliable 5G provider at no extra charge. Taxes and fees are included in your bill. And if you auto pay by attaching a credit card to your account, you will receive a discount on your monthly bill at T-Mobile, America's largest, fastest, and most reliable 5G provider at no extra charge. I'm going to address another communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers who indicated that you thought your home would be filled with grandchildren by now. However, all three of your children are nowhere near having children, and they are not getting any younger. So you say it's causing you some anxiety. And let me begin by saying this. First of all, your three children are not even in the marriage frame of mind right now. Now, we understand that the Bible tells us to be fruitful and multiply. And part of that reason is so that we can create a better society, that every generation will be better than the generation before them. You encourage your children to have grandchildren, but I want to say to you, let's not put the cart before the horse. You want to get them married first, hopefully, so that they don't end up just deciding that they're going to go their separate ways and then the child suffers. We want to create marriages that will last, that are sustainable, that are long-term. And you hope that they will find the person that they can be, that they can walk together in agreement and they can be equally yoked. All right. Once we do that, then you can talk about having a quiver full of grandchildren. But they're not there yet, and you're right, and they're not getting any younger. And you might have to accept the fact that you're not going to have a quiver full, that you're going to have grandchildren based on what your children decide to do with their lives, because in the society in which we are in today, the self-consumed society, the selfie generation of I only want to enjoy life the way society has taught me that I can enjoy it. I don't want the additional responsibilities. It's interesting, in our Cheaters Academy today, we in the classes, we had a conversation about this, and I didn't know this was going to be one of the topics for today until I pulled the communications. But the reality is that we all have a plan for what we would like to see happen with our children. One of the students made a comment today and said, her mother tells her all the time, I'm looking forward to the day that you get married and have children. Well, in our society today, one of the things we talked about is there are many people who literally are working contract jobs so that they can make just enough money for their next trip. That's their focus. They work every day in their careers just to make money, enough money to travel. They're not interested in making enough money to take care of their family or have a family. They're only focused on how many trips they can take and how many photos they can take. That's one of the challenges for the generations to come. You will have, at some point, 2 grandchildren. You just won't have the quiver full you were hoping to have. You will have 2. You were hoping, because you have 3 children, that if you were able to get 2 or 3 out of each one of them, you'd have a quiver full of grandchildren. And what a blessing that is. However, your children have made other plans. And you have to be okay with that, because you don't want to create anxiety and depression for yourself because of the way your children choose to live their lives. That they're only interested in hanging out, they're only interested in the next party, they're only interested in the next trip, they're only interested in living life without responsibility. That's who they are and who they become. You can keep saying to them, this is what I think will enhance your life, the quality of your life. But what they do is going to be entirely up to them. Now, I'm prayerful that the generations behind us, generation behind our generation, will recognize at some point that if you don't have children, you'll be left to the hands of care of someone who you don't know personally, who doesn't have the same blood that's running through their veins, that are being hired to take care of you. And so consequently, you don't really know what type of care you're going to get. Hopefully, if they're having children, they will know the kind of care they will get. Because your children will try to at least see that you have care, that it is well with you. And that's about as much as they're going to be able to expect from your children, because children are going to do what they want to do. And depending on the relationship, some are going to do less, some are going to do more. But here's the reality. The reality is that you've decided in your mind that you would love to have a house full of grandchildren. And what you're going to find necessary to live with is 2 of them. 2 grandchildren out of 3 children. 2 grandchildren. Because the others, they're not going to choose to be married and have children. You're going to have to learn to be okay with that, because it's not important for you, for the quality of your life, to suffer from anxiety and depression because your children choose not to get married and have children. I know the goal for all of us is that our children get married so that our family expands, and then they have children so that the legacy of God will live on. Unfortunately, in today's society, that's not always the case. We're trying to build a legacy for God so that the legacy of God will live on. And that is always going to be wrapped up in children of the next generation. Sometimes we find out that, it's not necessarily our own children, because others may see the vision and take part in it, become part of that, building a better society, continuing to move forward the family, even though it's sometimes surrogate family. But you got to be okay with that. You got to accept that and realize that all we can do is plan. Whatever God does to adjust the plan, we have to be okay with that. And whatever anyone else does that disrupts your plan, you got to be okay with that, because they're not going to change their mind, which means you have to change your mindset so that you have peace and enjoy your 2 unborn future grandchildren. This segment of the broadcast has been brought to you by Charles Tyrwhitt, located in London, the UK. They also have stores in New York, Chicago, Washington, D.C., and at the King of Prussia Mall in King of Prussia, Pennsylvania. So if you're in any of those areas, stop in at their retail stores. They have everything a man could possibly need: shirts for men, ties for men, suits for men, and accessories. If you are not in any of those areas, you can order from Charles Tyrwhitt at ctshirts.com. They will ship and deliver right to your front door in an appropriate period of time. And The White Company, located in London, the UK. They also have a store on Fifth Avenue in New York. So if you're in New York, stop in at their retail store. They have everything you could possibly need. They have home goods, clothing for men, women, and children. And if you're not in New York, you can order from The White Company at thewhitecompany.com. They too will ship and deliver right to your front door in an appropriate period of time. And I'm going to address another communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers who indicated that your daughter has problems with relationships. Every relationship she has been in has not lasted. However, she wonders why they do not last. And let me explain to you the reason. So I see this a lot, particularly in this day and age. Okay. Your daughter is what most people would term as the good time girl. And I see this a lot. Young women who are just really looking for a good time. They're looking for, for lack of a better term, a free meal. So they'll go out with anybody for a free meal. They are looking for the next party. So they'll go to the party with anybody or by themselves. They're looking for the next opportunity to go on a trip. So they'll go on a trip with anybody just so they can go on a trip. The problem with that is the relationships that she's been in are all based on those. And today I'm not going to go through the mission of marriage, dating on a mission. I'm going to say this. No man that is looking to build a relationship can keep up with your daughter, nor do they choose to. See, because she's the good time girl, because she likes to hang out, the people who go out with her are people who like to hang out. They're not people who are looking to build a relationship. What she should want is someone she can build and develop a relationship with that someday will lead to marriage and someday will lead to building a better quality of life. But as long as she's looking for the good time, the people she dates are going to be looking for a good time also. And they will hang out with her and do the things that she enjoys doing until they're tired. And men are going to tire out trying to keep up with her. And when they tire out, they're going to drop off. It's going to be that simple. And they'll give her the speech of, well, I didn't know it was that serious. We were just hanging out together. We were just, all of those things, because that's the reality. But any man that wants it to lead to a relationship, he's not going to be able to keep up with her. Because men who want relationships don't want just a good time. They're not looking for the next good time. They're looking for, how can we really build this thing into something great? How can we build a great quality of life together? How can we focus on moving our lives together that will lead to a place of matrimony, marriage, a place where we can have children, a place where we can build a great life together? That's what people who want a relationship, that's what they're looking for. They're not looking for what's the next party. They're not looking for what's the next event. They're not looking for, the next place to hang out. That's not what they're looking for. And that's why she's having a problem sustaining relationships. You can find anybody to hang out with. You can find anybody to go home with. But can you be in a relationship that is sustainable long term, that will lead to something more powerful, something more amazing, something that we can build a great quality of life? And so I will pray that she'll slow her pace down, and that at some point in time she'll realize that the people that she's hanging out with are just people who want to hang out, and that she'll seek to build a better quality of life. This segment of the broadcast, today's Daily Divine Direction broadcast 3D, has been brought to you by Fiji Water. A taste of paradise will be delivered right to your front door when you subscribe